What's going on? It's your boy, Skywalker the Jedi here, coming back with another one. Today we're about to talk about Matt Reeves the Batman. Okay? Matt Reeves the Batman. Matt Reeves the Batman has kind of had a checkered past, like we all know, right? It started off as being the Ben Affleck project, right, that he was supposed to star in and direct, right? The whole Arkham Asylum inspired project, right? That we were hearing was going to be like the raid kind of, and now we're hearing this, that it was James Bondian, right? Um, but it started off like that, um, and slowly over time, after Matt Reeves was brought on, we kind of started getting the impression that this um, wasn't going to be what we wanted it to be, right? And then eventually, Ben Affleck was removed from the project, entirely, and Robert Pattinson was casted. You know, the rest is history. Now, I think that you know where I stand with this project has been, it's kind of weird for me personally, right? Because I don't have any necessarily like ill feelings or ill will towards Matt Reeves at all, right? Or anything like that. But at the same time, I do feel like you know I'm not quite sure about where I stand on seeing this movie. I'm really not sure, right? Like on one hand, I want to see it because it's a DC project, right? And it has Batman in it. The cast is amazing, right? It has an amazing cast. It feels like the world that they're trying to build, is pretty substantial, right? They're surrounding the Batman character with like a bunch of members of his rogues gallery, right? Which is kind of what I've wanted to see in a certain aspect, right? With past iterations of Batman, right? So, on one hand, you have that, right? But on the other hand, I feel like, um, you know, not only does the, you know, the feeling that I have gotten from Warner Brothers, and their toxic behavior, right? Not only has that not been cool, right? But also you have kind of like Matt Reeves, you know, and his creative freedom that he's been given, right? It just flies in the face of everything that happened with Zach, right? Where it's like they sabotage this man at every point, right? And then blamed him for the results, right? And then now all of a sudden, these creatives are being brought in, and then it's almost to say like, okay, well, look, well now, look at what we're doing, and we're giving people the freedom to do what they want to do, right? Whereas, if that same creative freedom was afforded to Zach, I think that we would have um, we would have already probably been done with Zach's plan for the DCEU by now. We would have already been done, and I think that you know then after that it would have left room for you know people to sprawl out and do other projects because we were getting the multiverse introduced, as we saw in the Snyder Cut, either way, right? So it's like we've taken this long trip around the block just to come back to where we were already, going. including with the Snyderverse, right? But no, that's neither here nor there for this topic. But back on the Batman, um, no, but I'm glad that Matt Reeves is being afforded the creative freedom to do what he want to do with this movie, right? He seemed pretty dead set on casting Robert Pattinson, right? Which, you know, um, I was a little iffy when I heard about the casting, right? But I'm gonna take a, you know, wait till I see it kind of approach. But I haven't liked the way that his cowl looks. I have to be honest. Um, and personally, I like my Batman to look a little bit more physically imposing, like somebody that I would actually be afraid of if I encountered them. And Robert Pattinson just doesn't give me that same you know feeling like Ben does, right? But you know, you have the whole boycott WB movement going on, right? Where I'm not too sure where I stand on it, to be honest, right? Like, I wasn't for boycott WB, right? But then it's just like, um, just with all these things that they've done and said, and and you know, just the behavior of certain people connected with them, and things that have been leaked out, right? It just put me in a very weird position where I feel like the Batman is the perfect kind of like center point for all of this stuff going on. You know, you also have the fact that this was something very much wanted by Walter Hamada, right? Matt Reeves' statements about the project when he came on, and how it was a totally valid take, right? And how, looking back, that was the moment that the DCEU pretty much was no more, right? Where I remember him in talks to direct. You know, we thought it was for him to direct Ben Affleck, right? And then he walks, well, he walked away from the negotiations, and I remember that too. But now we know that it was over. It being connected to everything else. So when he got his way, that was it, right? But I don't blame him personally, right? Especially with the state that Warner Brothers was in at the time, and what they had done with Justice League and all that stuff, right? So um, I'm not blaming him, but I do think he kind of is in the crosshairs. It's like you know um, his movie being the center point for all this stuff that's been going on, right? You know, and it's really unfortunate, but this is the situation that we're living in, right? So um, I'm not quite sure whether or not I'm gonna financially support this movie. I do plan on watching it though, in some capacity. But I think it looks interesting, man. And I'm more intrigued by a lot of the rogues gallery. Like, you know, I am really interested in seeing Colin Farrell's um, portrayal of the Penguin. Um, some of the jokes about the Riddler's costume I've been finding pretty funny. But I do think that Paul Dano is a great actor, so I am kind of looking forward to seeing his performance as well. And I'm thinking that there's going to be a couple other villains that we're either going to, get teased or are going to have like small, like pretty small cameos. So I am interested by the world, right? Still really iffy on Robert Pattinson. Jeffrey Wright's an absolute win. Um, I think that um, oh yeah, yeah, Catwoman looks beautiful, right? It looks pretty interesting, but we shall see. Um, Let me know how you guys feel about Matt Reeves as the Batman. You know, Let me know if I'm the one tripping, right, by kind of overthinking this, or am I on to something? And who do you guys think is gonna pop up in the movie that hasn't been confirmed so far? I don't know. You guys let me know though. Hit get up with your boy. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I drop a video. And I'm gonna keep them coming. All right. Peace.